This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
The narrative that you've heard is incorrect. It's false. It's misleading. It did not happen.
They say it conflicts with what police claim led to the shooting death of Drejon Reed. Now, almost a month after that shooting, Reed's family is demanding that police tell the public more of what they know. More on what they want to see happen coming up on the news at noon. As protesters against police brutality plan to return downtown this afternoon, some local leaders and pastors paused this midday in prayer for the city. Our Stephanie Wade is live downtown at City Market, where that service began just about half an hour ago. Stephanie.
That you will bruise for our iniquity.
Yeah, Meredith, we've seen a wide variety of demonstrations over the course of 6 days now here in Indianapolis. The one happening next to me, though, involves the mayor, city county council members, community leaders, and members of the clergy. They are praying before protests begin here today. I had my photographer pan over. Let's listen in.
Country to country, God, we ask that you move from heart to heart and from breast to breast, that you would stand in the gap for us, that you would do for us what we cannot do for ourselves, that you would stand up in every city, that you would go through every street, that you would be in every alleyway, that your presence, power, and anointing would fall afresh over every place, over every person, that you would begin to heal that which is hurting. Father, and we'll be careful to give your name the glory, to give your name the praise, and to give your name the honor, because we know that the victory is won, and we are better together. Even now, God, we know that all things are going to work out for our good, and we believe this, and I pray this in your
Now, for some background,
name.
this is being led by Public Servants Prayer. That's the group leading this demonstration right now. The group is led by the volunteer chaplain for the State House, Matthew Barnes. He's about to speak actually right now. The group's regular goal is to pray for 3 lawmakers every day, and they publicly post who they are praying for on Facebook. But this particular service, though, today is being held by the City County Council chaplain, Tim Lindsay. So, again, they are just praying here before protests begin today. We'll keep you up to date with what happens. But for now, I'll send things back to you, Meredith.
Stephanie, thank you. The family of a black man killed by a Metro police officer almost 1 month ago is demanding more answers from the police department. We reported yesterday that the family of Drejon Reed had gone to court asking that the identities of the officers involved in the May 6th shooting be made public. Now, the attorney for Reed's family is pushing back on the initial claim from investigators that Reed opened fire on officers before he was killed.
And I'm here to say to you today, unequivocally, that Drejon Reed, Sean Reed, did not shoot a gun, did not point a gun, did not brandish a gun at an officer.
Attorney Fatima Johnson also says other witnesses have come forward to them disputing IMPD's account of the shooting. WRTV received a statement from IMPD saying that no one has given that information to investigators so far. We are still waiting on a court's decision on a request for a special prosecutor in that case. Here at noon, we want to check in with meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, as the day goes on, those temps keep going higher and higher.
Yeah, we're around 80 degrees right now already, Meredith, across central Indiana. If you've been outside, you know the humidity has come up as well. That's going to set the stage for the potential of some strong to maybe severe storms as we get into the late afternoon, early evening hours. You notice we have the high thin cloud cover right now across the area, but a few showers there near Kankakee and some stronger storms making their way through western portions of Illinois. This is going to take its jolly old time to get here, so we still have several hours of dry weather to contend with here throughout the afternoon. By 3 o'clock, some of those storms are making their way into northwest Indiana. And then by 6 o'clock, a broken line of storms will get itself together and start dropping south towards the metro area. So in Indy and along I-70, probably not going to see these storms until 6, 7 o'clock. Southern locations, probably not until after sunset. But then these storms will stick with us throughout the overnight hours as well. And some of them, as I mentioned, could be borderline strong to severe. The storm Prediction Center has us under the slight risk for severe weather. Wind and hail would be the main threats. We'll talk more about that storm potential coming up in Maine weather in just a little bit. Meredith.
Todd, thank you. The latest on the nationwide protests over the police killing of George Floyd. Many cities implementing crackdowns and curfews. The family of Floyd urging peace, and many protesters seem to be listening. ABC's Alex Prochet has more from Minneapolis.
This morning, the governor of Minnesota showing up at the site where George Floyd was killed. Keeping a low profile, just reflecting and writing his own message at the growing memorial. George Floyd's family reacting as well. The mother of his 6-year-old saying this about his daughter, Gianna.
That was his baby. He loved his little girl.
What do you want people to know?
Kind of that I miss him.
The community at this makeshift memorial in Minneapolis has set the tone for the rest of the country. It's a place of peace. So far, it's the first time this week there's not been a curfew in place here. Elsewhere overnight, protesters in New York City facing off with police on the Manhattan Bridge enforcing an earlier 8 o'clock curfew after violence and widespread looting occurred on Monday.
Peaceful protest.
The group of 5,000 marchers eventually allowed to peacefully cross into Brooklyn. There were instances of clashes in some cities. Pepper spray shot into crowds in Boston and in Portland and in Seattle. A state trooper overheard preparing his fellow officers for a likely clash with demonstrators. But after days of images of cities set on fire and violence, the calls for calm seeming to be answered. In Los Angeles, a large group of protesters bringing their demonstration to Mayor Garcetti's front steps. Garcetti greeting them and taking a knee. Protesters also seen peacefully outside Gracie Mansion, the official home of the mayor of New York City. Hospital workers nearby who've worked tirelessly during this COVID-19 pandemic taking a knee in solidarity with the Floyd family. In Houston, George Floyd's hometown, more than 60,000 people coming together, marching alongside his family and friends.
There's still the question of those additional charges against the other officers involved in this case. The Floyd family attorney saying he expects those to come before Floyd is laid to rest next week. Alex Prochet, ABC News, Minneapolis.
COVID-19 has forced a number of cancellations so far, and this is a big one for downtown Indianapolis. Today, the organizers of the Downtown Freedom Fest say this year's event and massive fireworks display will not be held on the 4th of July. Freedom Fest says the two main factors were social distancing and public health concerns. Organizers say they look forward to resuming the Independence Day tradition next year. The primary election is over. Now it is on to November. Next, why a race for Congress in Indiana is getting so much attention all across the country. Todd.
And Meredith, it's dry right now, and it will be for the next few hours across central Indiana, but storms are starting to get themselves together across parts of Illinois. These storms are going to drop towards central Indiana as we work our way into the evening hours. We'll time them out and talk about the threats heading our way coming up when your Storm Team 6 forecast continues here on the News at Noon.
Greatest Seasons Ever premieres Monday on ABC.
Primary election day has come and gone, and we now know who will be running for Indiana's 5th district seat in Congress. Our race deal tells us why it will be one of the most closely watched House races in the entire country.
Democrats already had an eye on the 5th district seat even before Republican Susan Brooks announced she would not run for re-election. The district has been reliably Republican, but about 70% of the district's voters live in the Indianapolis suburbs, and they have slowly started to lean more Democratic. The state's Democratic Party leadership also appeared to get the candidate they wanted coming out of the primary. Christina Hale is a former state lawmaker. She also ran 4 years ago as the running mate to the Democratic candidate for governor, John Gregg. Hale will face Republican Victoria Spartz. This will be Spartz's first general election campaign. She won her state Senate seat in a Republican caucus 3 years ago. With at least some chance this seat will flip, outside groups could spend millions on this race. The conservative group, the Club for Growth, has already spent nearly $500,000 for Senator Spartz in the primary alone. And with this race getting a high national profile, don't be surprised if that means more campaign visits to Indiana from the president, as well as big-name Democrats this fall. With Democracy 2020, Ray Steele, RTV6.
Nursing homes have been havens for the coronavirus. Next, a former nursing home worker shares her concerns about why the virus has spread and what she experienced that made her quit her job. And we are taking a live look right now over the Circle City. Things heating up out there. Meteorologist Todd Clausen will have everything you need to know for the rest of your Wednesday coming up. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6. So far, almost half of Indiana's deaths from COVID-19 have happened in nursing homes. Now we're hearing from a former nursing home employee on why she says the virus is spreading. Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny spoke with that worker as well as a family about why they say things need to change.
Ben-Hur is a nursing home in Crawfordsville. So far, they're the only long-term care facility in Montgomery County with positive cases of COVID-19. And so far, at least 16 residents have died here.
Dara Hendricks worked at Ben-Hur Health and Rehab as a front desk receptionist. She was asked to move to the COVID-positive unit to take staff and visitor temperatures. Dara is not a nurse and says she only had an N95 mask as protection, while COVID-19 positive residents coughed and sneezed on her and touched her. Dara says she also witnessed materials and workers going back and forth between the COVID-positive unit and other areas of Ben-Hur without sanitizing or changing clothes. When the facility moved her back to the reception area, she was surprised she didn't have to quarantine herself, despite working for weeks in the COVID-positive area.
I was tickled to death to go back to a little bit of sanity. And the very next day, I got an email saying, I'm sorry, we don't really need a receptionist right now. We're going to put you into housekeeping. And it would be wiping down all contaminated areas all day long. That's all I would be doing. And I just did not feel comfortable doing that, and I left my job. I left my position there.
Dara is currently dealing with a fever and sore throat. She tested positive for COVID-19. The facility's website shows 13 employees have tested positive, 37 confirmed cases among residents, and 16 residents have died. American Senior Communities told us because of Ben-Hur's COVID-positive status, they get regular visits from Indiana's State Department of Health. ISDH investigated the claims mentioned in your inquiry and found no deficiencies in Ben-Hur's processes. Additionally, on May 27th, an ISDH surveyor conducted an infection control focused survey and again found Ben-Hur to be deficiency-free. ASC says Ben-Hur has implemented infection control procedures such as quarantining and cohorting residents and staff who are COVID-19 positive, testing 100% of residents, screening residents for illness daily, requiring all staff to wear PPE at all times, and cancellation of large group activities.
You can read the entire statement from American Senior Communities in this story on our website, WRTV.com, and the RTV6 app. Reporting in Crawfordsville, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Kara, thank you. So far, the state is refusing to release information about where people are dying in nursing homes, but some providers and county health departments are releasing that information. You can find our database in this story at WRTV.com. We want to check back in with meteorologist Todd Clausen right now. Todd, a hot one out there.
Yeah, you know, these temperatures are warming pretty quickly as we expected here at Meredith across the area. Right now, we're sitting already in the 80s all across central Indiana. And look at Lafayette. You're getting close to 90 degrees already at 88. It's 82 in Indy. Martinsville at 82 degrees. And Connorsville currently sitting at 83, as well as the Bedford area. Factor in the humidity, which is a lot higher today than it has been the past few days. And it feels like it's in the 90s already. And Lafayette feels a couple degrees warmer in Indianapolis at 84. And it feels like 84 in Columbus. Now, actual high temperatures today will get very close to 90 degrees in many locations. Wouldn't be shocked if some areas, especially to the south, that hang on to the sunshine a little bit longer, get to that 90-degree mark. But it's all going to be determined by a little front that is heading our way. I don't really want to call it a cold front because the air behind it isn't really all that much different. It's just going to be more of a wind shift, but it is going to be enough to probably prompt some showers and a few storms here across the area. And you see that line of storms right now in Illinois doesn't look all that impressive whatsoever. In fact, those storms are really weakening as they approach the Peoria area. But as we go forward throughout the course of the day and it runs into more favorable air for storm development, the front that is, we are going to expect additional storms to flare up. And the Storm Prediction Center has most of central Indiana under the slight risk. That is the yellow on the left-hand side of your screen. Then you see the green on either side of that band of yellow. That's a some marginal risk. And on the right side of your screen, you see the main threats, and from low to moderate to high. Well, the highest threat that we have, and is approaching the moderate level, is going to be high winds with these storms. The secondary threat would be the potential for some hail followed by flooding, and the tornadoes, the lowest threat as this system starts to move in. Here is the timeline. You notice by the time we get to about 3 o'clock, some showers and storms flaring up across northern portions of the area. And then as we work our way into the evening hours, that line of storms will stink to the south. And then as we work our way into the overnight hours, those storms will make their way through the area. So we're trending later and later with these storms, and it may become more of an overnight event, with the exception of those storms initially late afternoon, early evening in northern locales, and then a few spotty showers will linger into tomorrow as well. So your Thursday will feature some scattered showers and storms, not a line of storms coming through like later on today. So it's one of those days you'll have to be weather aware, but there are a lot of dry hours mixed in tomorrow, and with the additional cloud cover, temperatures will be running just a few degrees cooler. But overall, your temperature trend all the way through the weekend will keep the temperatures in the 80s, well above the normal high of 78 degrees. The big change, though, will be once we do get into the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Even though the temperatures are still in the mid-80s, the humidity comes way down for Saturday and Sunday. So it's a very comfortable weekend compared to the next couple days, which will be borderline uncomfortable with the humidity that'll be around, Meredith, and again, those chance of storms.
All right, Todd. Well, we have a good way for you to beat the heat. How about giving frozen custard a try? Our Brad Brown takes us to a family-owned stand in Fishers that has been serving up scoops along State Road 37 long before the business boom there.
When the old custard stand opened more than 20 years ago, it was pretty much all alone on this stretch of State Road 37.
It's been very busy, more than normal when we open. Normally when we open, we're not that crazy busy. But everybody was just happy to get out. Everybody was happy to eat something different.
But as Fishers has grown up around it, the stand has been right here, serving up frozen treats to a new generation.
We've been eating frozen custard since we were kids, and that's why we built the frozen custard stand, is because we just wanted something different. Plus, all of our food is all homemade. Everything's right here. We make it all.
It's a family affair for Tiffany Leopard. Along with homemade frozen custard, her mom is back in the kitchen whipping up coney dogs, ham salad sandwiches, and more.
People come for the chicken salad and the ham salad. The ham salad is an old recipe. It's just something that we've always had.
But the custard is the star, as it has been from the start. More than 50 gallons made fresh daily, served up in sundaes, shakes, malts, and more.
Flavored Cokes. We have a lot of flavored Coke fans, so yeah, we have a lot of people that come by.
There are daily special flavors.
We normally have chocolate, vanilla, and butter pecan. Sunday is mint chocolate chip. Saturday is a strawberry. And lemon has become a phenomenon. We have it every Friday now. I don't like it, but everybody else does.
And just about any topping combo you can think of, and a few that might surprise you.
When we first started, the girls themselves that we started with started making different things, and that's how we come up with a lot of the specialty Sundays.
Familiar faces, lots of smiles, and a taste of summer topped off with a little hot fudge.
It's just something you don't have at home. You know, everybody's been stuck at home, so they want to get out. And we have lots of seating outside, so we've had, even during the rain, we've had people out here sitting outside, just being outside and being somewhere other than home.
Working for you in Fishers, Brad Brown, RTV6.
Looks delicious. The old custard stand has a calendar that lists the special flavor for each day of the month, so you can plan ahead. You can find that on their Facebook page. We'll be right back.
And a tour.
We keep our eyes on the potential for some storms flaring up here later on this afternoon. It's mainly late afternoon in northern locations, and then that line of storms will sink south throughout the course of the evening hours. A few storms could be borderline strong to severe. Of course, Kevin Greger will have the latest on those throughout the evening hours. Warm and muggy through Friday, then cooler, slightly less humid and sunny for the weekend.
Todd, thank you, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope you have a great rest of your day.